Welcome to the Yolo County District Attorney Podcast, The Chronicles of Justice. We will be discussing the Canine Detection Program at Washington Unified School District with their Director of Student and Family Support Services, Gerry Smith. We also have with us today InterQuest Detection Canine representatives, Terry and Meg Bogue and Lisa Karam. And we also have Yolo County District Attorney Chief Deputy DA, Jonathan Raven. Gerry, we're going to start with you. Can you let us know about Washington Unified's Canine Detection Program and how it got started?
Sure. About 3 years ago, when I first came to the district to take the position of student services, it had come to my attention that there was a concern in the community that there was some inappropriate substance abuse and use and possession on some of our high school campuses. I was lucky enough years ago as a high school principal to work with Terry and Meg at InterQuest when I was the high school principal in Willows, California. After talking to the superintendent and the assistant superintendents, they allowed me to give an opportunity to do a presentation to our school board, bringing Terry and Meg and their dog in, and the board really liked the idea, so we went into contract with them 3 years ago. We only use them at the two high schools in Washington Unified, both River City High School and Yolo High School, which is our continuation high school. And we feel like it's the program being based on deterrence, not on apprehension, has worked wonderful for our community and our school district.
How successful has the program been?
We feel it's really successful. The number one thing to make the program successful is that all of our visits from them are unannounced, and they are not scheduled with us at all. So we have no idea from the district level, the site level administration, et cetera, when and what time of day they're coming. So that really makes a great program for deterrence. That gives kids an opportunity to say, I can't bring anything on campus. I don't want to be involved with this because there's the outside chance that the dog folks might show up. Our statistics in the first few years show that they had a lot of alerts. And even at the beginning of each school year, we usually have more alerts than we do as the year goes along. Our statistics show the last few years that as the school year goes along, we have less and less alerts, and we feel like that shows that kids are making better decisions and not bringing that contraband on our campuses.
So how often is InterQuest visiting your campus?
Well, we go into contract with them annually with a certain number of visits between the two schools. Mm-hmm. There's never a guarantee about how many visits per month. If you were to say an average, it might be 2 to 3 per month that the visits come, but it can be anywhere from sometimes they don't show up for 3 weeks, sometimes they come one day and they come the very next day. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that way there's no consistency that the students feel that they're going to be on campus on a certain day of the week or a certain time of the day. They mix that up very nicely for us. So that way, once again, it just gives the kids another reason to not bring stuff on campus.
And how do you see the children that are on campus? How do you see their reaction to when the program started as to how it is now?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, the community members and at the school site, there was concern and there was a little leeriness about, well, would they be coming to our campus and sniffing us, etc. And when they found out how the program really works, that it is truly about deterrence and trying to keep the school safe, as the years have gone on, when they come onto our campuses now, the two high school campuses, our biggest problem sometimes is getting the kids into class because they all want to go out and pet the dog. Yeah. So it's a real positive, it's viewed positive by the student body and by the staff at the school. They really feel like they've made some real strides in making the school safer, but at the same time giving those kids that safety net of not having to bow into peer pressure. That I can say no, and I have a reason. I can use them as the excuse that I'm not going to bring something on campus.
What would you say to those more liberal and progressive communities that might be very leery about drug-sniffing dogs in their schools?
I think my first response would be that there are many portions of Washington Unified and West Sacramento that are very liberal portions of our community as a whole, and that the leeriness that goes along with that, I think it just goes back to, are we making our schools safer for kids? And that's ultimately all we're looking for. I think that it's, I think you get trapped in making it a political issue. Mm-hmm. It's not a political issue, it's a safety issue. And it's something that I have never seen, and during my time working with any canine detection program, any student's rights violated. and that and also that they ultimately don't all feel really comfortable with the dogs being on campus to help the process as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for Washington Unified's perspective on this program. And now we're going to shift our focus to the InterQuest Detection Canines program. And we're going to be discussing this specifically with Terry Bogue and Lisa Karam. Okay, starting with you, Terry, can you talk a bit about the program and how it got started with getting into these schools and doing this detection and deterrence program?
Yes, many times the school is aware that they have a problem with students bringing contraband onto campus. Oftentimes they're doing programs like DARE and like GREAT programs that are trying to educate the students about the use and substance abuse and those kinds of situations. What they learn when we arrive on the scene and they learn about our services is that there is an additional way to be proactive and to be preventative in having that situation occur on their campus. And our canine detection program and deterrence program is one way that we can effectively move those substances off of campus and at the same time allow the school to manage the students that make those mistakes and get them into a situation where they can get some help and assistance and back on track and continue their education. And our program allows that to happen without challenging the students as being like with law enforcement or something like that. So we're a very positive and well appreciated service on campus by both students, teachers, and administrators after they learn what we do and after they see us in action.
Okay, thank you. And Lisa, when you're going on to the campus, can you explain the process from the time you arrive and as you're, the areas that are being searched, how that works, and any educational components that you have?
Sure. When we arrive to a campus, our first job is to check in with administration, let them know that we're there. When they see us, they know what we're going to be doing, and it's important that when we are coming to a school to do a visit, that we are as thorough as we can be within one class period. So what that means is that if there's a block schedule or just, it's period 4, our job and what we try to do is make sure that we're doing all of the checking within that period. We don't want to cross periods and double check a student. So what happens is we have classroom visits. We randomly draw a number of classrooms, and the administrator assists us with coming into the classroom. The teachers are aware of what we do and why we're there, and we come in, we announce that we are here for a safety visit today, and the teachers know that they need to step out with their students into the hallway or outside the classroom, and it's done in a very positive way. The students leave all of their items there because we are not there to sniff students. That's not what we do. We're going to come into a classroom and we're going to check out the items that are in a classroom. It takes a few minutes to do that, and when we are finished with the classroom, we thank the students very much for their time, we thank the teacher, and we will move on to another classroom. When the classrooms are finished, then we take the opportunity to take a look at the rest of the school. All sort of public areas, so gyms, libraries, lockers, bathrooms, and also perimeter areas of a school, so any kind of tough shed storage areas, places where kids will often, what we do is something called a transfer point. Cars, when we're at the high school level, cars are checked as well that are parked on campus. So it takes about an hour to an hour and a half when we're at a high school. The administrators, as I mentioned before, are with us during the classroom. They are with us at all time when we are around students and students' items there. The rest of the time, we are seen by students, and we work the other areas of the classroom, and we try to be as thorough as we can.
And Lisa, what kind of dogs do you use at InterQuest?
So we are fortunate enough to work with some lovely ladies that are Labrador Retrievers. They are sweet and gentle, very smart, and also they're hunting dogs. So we use the dogs that like to find things versus People often ask about, do you use German Shepherds? Do you use herding dogs? Collies are often asked about. Those are also very smart dogs, but they're also more interested in herding. We're interested in hunt and find. So we use Labrador Retrievers. They are well behaved, they are gentle, they are sweet, and they have excellent noses.
And how do you see the children interact with them on campus?
It's almost like therapy. So when you arrive on campus with beautiful dogs, with beautiful energy, you can visibly see kids relax. We often have an opportunity to be on elementary school campuses as well with our educational program, and the kids just love it. So it's a pleasure to come to work every day.
And can you speak a little bit more about the educational program that you just mentioned?
Mm-hmm. There are two. One is what I call a quick abbreviated piece of our presentation that we do at the elementary schools called the PAWS program, Programs Assisting with Student Safety. This is a program that piggybacks onto DARE and GREAT that's often brought in at the elementary school level, and it's really about just educating students about the dogs, and it's done at a very developmentally appropriate level for 5th and 6th graders. We're really looking to inform them as you head up to middle school and high school. We want you to know what the dogs do, why we're here, and what's important about the program. At the high school level, when we work as double teams at a high school on those days, it's a really rewarding experience to be the team that's outside the classroom. The dogs don't work together at the same time in a classroom. So Terry, Miley, and Meg will go in, and I would wait outside with Lucy. And the opportunity to have a conversation with the students as well as the teachers about reminding them, reinforcing the message of deterrence and safety, and sort of quickly going through what it is that we do and don't do again. You see the kids react so positively. There might be a little nervousness for some students. It might be our first visit and they're not really quite sure. They heard about it, but they don't know. And by the time they've had a chance to pet Lucy and heard what I'm sharing with them, there's a lot of smiles and relaxation, and I can visibly see there's a lot of kids, they want to feel safe and good at school.
Terry, back to you. What about the perception in the community that thinks that you guys are just out there to get the students and to turn them over to the police, and you're trying to pin things on them?
Well, let me say that our contract with the district makes us an agent of the district. Therefore, as their agent, we sign everything that we find over to the school, and their policy prevails. We are not law enforcement. There is no interface that we have in doing our deterrence program to law enforcement. If the school policy calls for law enforcement involvement, that's something that they've worked out with the Board of Trustees, the parents, and the schools when they establish their policy. So there is no apprehension per se. Our reports that the dog showed an interest in a backpack in room 703, and we took the student with us and to a private area with the administrator and the student present. We checked everything and found that there was nothing there. That student has no name written on the report. It just says the student on the report, so that's not even gender specific. And if nothing is found, the student goes right back to class. If we do find something, we sign it over to the school, and their policy prevails. The whole goal of our program is deterrence, not apprehension. It is safety and preventative to make sure that the students are safe at school by not having contraband on campus. On campus, we check all the public areas like restrooms. We even check the library, because the kids will hide it in any place that they can find a safe place to hide it, like in the book stack in the library, in the overhead in the restrooms. Any place off campus, we often find things hidden away in dugouts at the ball field. So we check all these areas on campus. A lot of things are found in automobiles parked on campus in the students' cars. So there is some evidence that some students bring it to school, hide it in their hiding place, and transfer it by telling other students where they can go to get it. Other times, students may have it in their backpack or on their person. And that, in that case, when we're checking in classrooms, if they're carrying it with them, it's oftentimes the odor is on their hands and it transfers over to the things that they have, like their backpack or purse or cap or whatever, and the dog detects it there. And then when we check their backpack, we also ask the administrator to make sure they're not carrying it. So that's how most of the time the contraband moves on campus.
Okay. And Lisa, specifically for you, there's a personal interest in doing the work that you do as well. And what is that?
So I am the mother of 3 children, all of whom have been through high school. My youngest is now 18 and will be graduating in June. And I have some firsthand experience with some of the stress that comes along with students attending school where there is contraband present. Some of the challenges with making good and healthy decisions. And of course, as a parent at home, I want to support my kids in every way that I can. Education and having family conversations around our values around education and taking care of ourselves. However, it can be challenging when I'm sending my child to a school every day, and the truth of the matter is there is always going to be a certain percentage of students who are involved in this kind of activity, and it's difficult when the schools don't have all of the resources to help keep those campuses clean. So in working in this particular job, I find myself in a unique position to talk to students as I'm working in this job to support the idea of proactive, preventative, deterrence, and being safe and healthy at school.
Thank you, Terry and Lisa. And real quick, Gerry, when there is a detection, if there is one, what happens in Washington Unified School District?
Well, it's treated as part of our board policy, and the way we like to handle situations, even if there is contraband, and it's not something that would be tied normally to law enforcement, and that's very, very rare. It would have to be a significant amount of contraband with marijuana or something, or even alcohol. We handle it at the school site, and we try to work on helping the students and the families find some preventative measures to take care of things. We go from a much more restorative practice type attitude versus a punitive. Of course, if somebody does have possession of a controlled substance on campus, there will be, by ed code, a short suspension from school. But when they come back, they're not labeled, they're not sent out, we're not going after expulsion on students. We want to get them help at that point in time when they get back, get them into a counseling program. We tie very closely with Communicare, which is an agency within the county, and we will often get kids who have the process, they've gone through the process of the school, the dog alerted, we did find something, and then we tie them and their family to Communicare to get some support help.
Thank you, Gerry. And now we're going to turn our attention to Chief Deputy DA Jonathan Raven from the Yolo County District Attorney's Office. Jonathan, why is the DA interested in this issue?
Well, Yolo County District Attorney Jeff Reisig chairs a Yolo Truancy Abatement Committee, which I run for him. And at this committee, we have district school representatives. Gerry's on the committee. We have probation. We have health and human services. We have nonprofits. We have mental health. And we're all about attendance issues and prevention. That's what we're about, and that's what we talk about in truancy issues. And what intrigued me is at one of our meetings, this issue came up. And I have to say my eyes have been opened wide, because what I envisioned is, and I have familiar with the canine units that work with law enforcement that are of great assistance in our criminal cases, but this isn't about the criminal aspect. I envisioned a police officer in full uniform, carrying a gun, walking in there with their German Shepherd and having the dog sniff the students. And I have to say that made me feel a little uncomfortable. But when I found out what this program was about, in talking to Hector from Woodland and Gerry from Washington, I really thought it was pretty amazing. Because as we've heard today, it's about prevention, it's about deterrence, and it's not about getting the kids in trouble, it's not about turning them over to the police, it's not about taking them away in handcuffs, and it's about keeping the kids safe, keeping them in school, and those kids that do have some substance abuse issues, getting them some help and getting them better and getting them so they can finish school and graduate and be productive members of society. So I think it's really, really fascinating. It's very important to our office in terms of the truancy issue, but also for myself as a father of 3 children, one 13, one 20, and one 23. I find it very interesting, and it seems to be very effective in these districts.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the DA's perspective on this issue. And as we're coming to a close on this podcast, are there any final parting thoughts that we would like the public to hear?
I think from a school administrator standpoint, I think it's really important for community members to understand and really hear the fact that this is about prevention. It's not about apprehension. We're here to help our kids, and InterQuest is here to help our kids. And I think that our experience, and this is the second district I've worked in where we've had a program like this, and it's been the same in both districts. And the fact that there was leeriness at the beginning, but as time went on, it became part of the norm and a very welcomed part of what we do on a daily basis on our school campuses.
Okay, thank you, Gerry. And as we close today, I'd like to thank Gerry, Terry, Meg, Lisa, and Jonathan for participating in today's podcast. And for more information on the Yolo County District Attorney's Office and the programs that we have here, you can visit www.yoloda.org, or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.